to yet another episode of Sunny Side Up. To everyone in the north side of the country, I hope you all are enjoying the last few days of winters. I am looking forward to my favorite season of sun and shine, the summers. Most of the people that I know of love winters, but give me sun any day. Come to think of it, aren't we lucky here in India to experience all seasons and weather changes? I have been told that every season, every weather change brings its benefits along and adds to our overall wellness. Wellness has become quite a buzzword these days, be it physical wellness, mental wellness, or financial wellness. My episode today covers the financial wellness aspect of our lives, and hence, my guest today is a financial wellness coach and guide. He has been guiding and educating people on matters related to finance with the ultimate aim of helping them achieve financial freedom. His recently published book, Financial Wellness Cinematics, is trending as a bestseller on Amazon. Please welcome Saurabh Jain, an alumnus of IBS and St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, a qualified MBA and CFA with a decade of banking and treasury experience. Welcome to Sunny Side Up, Saurabh. Thank you so much for joining me in my conversation today. I'm so honored to be talking to the best-selling author, and we will talk about this book, of course, Financial Wellness, later in our conversation. But let's start with Magnum Pinvest. How did this journey start for you?
Thank you. Thanks, Sunita, for that wonderful introduction. And again, before starting off Magnum Pinvest, I'd just like you to take back some 5-7 years down the line. So I did my graduation from St. Xavier's, and then post that I did my MBA and CFA. So, and we were very lucky that we got a job in ICICI Bank into the treasury department. So that's how, the journey began, because once you work or function in a bank treasury, you get to learn a lot of, let's say, different products, be it domestic, be it international. So exposure actually, widens and just broad-based around that. So post that, working with ICICI Bank, then I got an opportunity to join National Stock Exchange of India. That was again a great entity to work. And then due to some family constraint, I have to come back to my home city. And there I was working with an NBFC. So again, the job was challenging in the sense they wanted to set up their entire treasury desk, which was there in ICICI. So for me, it was an easy thing just to replicate the same thing. But for them, it was a new thing. They wanted to set up the entire market risk sort of, let's say, strategy. So after working for around, let's say, 6-7 years within the corporate sector, then I thought now, the learning curve has got saturated. So I thought, let's try something of my own. And trust me, I had full confidence of my, let's say, seniors and boss who were there. And they said, okay, you go and try. Maybe at any point of time, you want to come and join us. Your doors for you are always open. So that gave me a sense of, let's say, a comfort. And again, a sense of excitement that, okay, let's start something of my own, although there is a backup at the, back of your mind. So that's how, Magnum Pinvest services started. And we thought of, let's say, creating a wealth management firm whereby we can reach out to a lot of individuals in terms of managing their personal finance, because there was a lot of gap. Like while I was working in treasury, I found out that, only, let's say, bigger guys or the HNIs or the super HNIs, mostly people are reaching out to them for their wealth management, financial planning. But I think all the salaried people, because, they're so much occupied in their day-to-day work, managing their house, managing their work, coming back, and probably nobody is reaching out to them. Maybe because the kitty is small. That is where I found that a lot of scope and gap is there. So I thought, let's cater to the retail masses, let's say salaried people specifically, and help them in terms of getting their personal financial planning done and getting their, let's say, finances in place. So that was the thought behind, to kickstart the Magnum Pinvest services journey.
Amazing. So you took the brave step of leaving a comfortable job and starting as an entrepreneur. So let's hear what all does Magnum Pinvest offer to its clients.
Sure. So initially we started off with simple products like mutual funds. And eventually for 2 to 3 years, we were catering into that product, building a base. But at present, we have migrated ourselves from a simple asset, let's say selling a particular product, then to providing a holistic financial solution. So now anybody who comes to us, first thing what we do for him or her is prepare their financial plan. So it's very simple. Like, once you go for a trip, let's say you want to plan a holiday, you plan everything. You book your tickets, you book your, let's say, hotel, you plan your day-to-day itinerary also. But when it comes to financial planning, people didn't have a plan that, these are my short-term goals, these are my medium-term goals, these are my long-term goals. So initially, in first 1 or 2 years, I realized that there is a gap. Maybe I'm selling a product to them, but whether it is getting fitting into their shoes, exactly, it was not happening. So then I started preparing financial plan for all the people before I onboard them and help them in their wealth creation journey, so that it helps me to understand their mindset, helps me to understand their goals, so that I can give them the best suited product. And then we widened our product range. So today we are doing mutual funds, we are helping them in terms of stock advisory, we are helping them in terms of, let's say, buying any bonds, maybe government bonds, gold bonds, sovereign bonds, and also we are helping them to do their return filing, will planning, and insurance planning. So all these products, let's say, which are individual needs. So we are covering his entire umbrella, entire basket in terms of giving him the most prudent solution towards his financial well-being.
It's so true that so many of us don't even have a financial plan. So it's a wonderful start for anyone who's aiming at financial wellness. But tell me one thing, Saurabh, with all the uncertainties that we all face in our lives, be it pandemic that recently hit us or other kinds of volatility that one experiences, what is your advice to your investors?
So I think it's a very apt question, Sunita, which you have asked, and especially at this point of time when there are a lot of uncertainties. We have seen like a lot of recessionary pressure is happening in US, Europe, and a lot of layoff news keep coming in every day in the news and, let's say, in social media. In fact, now a separate website has been floated whereby, they just have the data of how many people have been laid off by different companies, and that is getting a lot of traction. So definitely, as we all know that life has its own ups and downs. We can't expect like a straight curve, straight line curve that, upward sloping curve. It has its own up and down. Sometimes there could be personal challenges. Sometimes there could be health related issues. Sometimes there could be financial issues. But typically what we have seen, if you have put your financials in place, you get a lot of mental stability. First of all, that is really very important. And second, if you have good financials in place, any health related, let's say, issues might also be taken care of. Because today, if you ask people, most of the stress, maybe whether there is a mental stress or a physical stress, is primarily related to the financial stress. Because their financial well-being is not very well managed. That is the issue is there. So I would simply recommend all the audience that, you break your financial planning into, let's say, three different buckets. First bucket, I call it as a protection element, where you should have a proper life insurance, like in the form of term insurance. You should have proper health insurance. And third, you should have maintain an emergency fund. Let's say we all know some of the people, let's say, who have been laid off during challenges time. Companies are facing also, let's say, growth challenges, etc. So if you have 6 months of your expenses lying idle in your savings account, or let's say FD, you will not get stressed. And definitely within 6 months, you will be able to find a good job for you. But provided, let's say, you have a loan EMI and you don't have any balances in your account, you will not be able to, even you are a very good candidate, you might not be able to crack that job because, your mental state is imbalanced. So first thing, people should ensure that, they have a protection element. That protection element, as I said, includes term insurance, health insurance, and third is maintaining an emergency fund. Once you do that, that brings a very, very strong foundation and base to your financial planning. And then you should step up towards, let's say, focusing on creating your assets, diversifying your money, let's say, into different asset class, could be into real estate, could be into employee provident fund, mutual funds, SIPs, etc. And then you build up the second pillar. And the third pillar is most critical, nominations and doing a will planning. I'll give you a very astonishing figure to you. 18,000 crores of money is lying with Government of India where there are no claimant. Because maybe you have done something and you have not told your child or your husband that you have actually done some investments. It is just lying idle in your, let's say, in your app, or it is there, let's say, in your, I would say, in your email ID. They don't have access to it. So because of all these things, or maybe you have invested something, maybe the paper you have lost and probably you're not able to recall, or could be your father has done something 10, 15 years back, he didn't inform you, could be because you guys are living in a different city. There could be so many different reasons. So from that perspective, whatever you are doing, your savings, investments, etc., you need to do proper nominations, you need to do will planning, and you need to inform your nominees that yes, this is something which has actually been taken for them. Otherwise, what will happen? Whatever inheritance you have created, eventually that will become a mess. So let's not happen, that way. Simple financial planning, I would say it's very simple. It's just that, you need to take step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. It's a simple step by step which you need to follow. It's like a simple cooking recipe. Like you follow something, let's say if you have to cook something, first you get all your ingredients right, and then you put it, and then you stir it well so that the taste comes up, and eventually once the taste come up, then it is ready for all of us to eat. So it's very simple. Financial planning, do like a small step by step, follow the simple steps. Eventually you will end up getting a very, very robust and financial plan, and this will help and protect you from all kind of uncertainties.
Wow. So that is your mantra of managing the VUCA world.
Yeah, perfect.
ओके ग्रेट. तो वूका वर्ल्ड कैसे मैनेज करना है वो तो तुमने हमें बता दिया सौरभ, पर मुझे ये बताओ कि ये जो एक शब्द है EMI, राइट, एक ये जो खतरनाक सा वर्ड है EMI, जिसके चक्कर में हम सब सैलरीड पीपल फंसे हुए हैं. व्हाट इज योर सजेशन, व्हाट इज योर एडवाइस टू पीपल जो इस चक्कर में हैं और कैसे वो अपने आप को इस चक्कर से बचाएं?
True. So there is also a movie called EMI. Again, it has become such a popular term that a movie has also been coined, and I've also referred to that chapter also in my book, the EMI. So we'll come to it at the later part. But again, today, if you see, world is full of EMIs, EMIs, EMIs. We see a lot of stress among the people, those who carry those EMIs, and they have those EMI burdens. And trust me, because of this EMI burden, typically what happens, most of the employees, or I would say most of the people currently, they're carrying a stress at the back of their mind. And they just wait for 30th of every month, the salary to get credited. And once that salary get credited, they feel, let's say, a sense of contentment that, okay, अभी तो चलो 30 days के लिए सब कुछ ठीक है, it's managed, फिर देखेंगे next month, क्या होता है. Because there are a lot of uncertainties revolving around. Okay, so again, EMI is not bad, but we need to understand what are good EMIs and bad EMIs. Your housing loan is a good EMI, your education loan is a good EMI because you get income tax benefit. But all other loans, let's say personal loan, credit card loans, etc., these are actually bad EMI. They pull your savings drastically down. And once you fall into that trap, one EMI, you need to close, you fall into another EMI and third, and that becomes a part of the habit. I would quote a very beautiful line. Somebody has said that, people don't decide their future. Okay, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. So similarly, don't develop this EMI habits, because if you develop it, eventually, you will fall into that trap. So if you would ask me a simple formula, what is the maximum EMI one should have? Your EMI should not be more than 40% of your take-home salary. That is the threshold limit. So let's say if my take-home salary is 1 lakh rupees, I should ensure that my EMI should not crosses 40%, 40,000. If I can maintain, let's say, that level, it is okay. But many a times I see people having 60,000, 75,000 EMI, and they're just running cut to cut on their salary. So it should not happen that way. EMIs are good. Understand good EMIs and segregate bad EMIs. Housing loan and your education loan are really good EMI. Continue with that. Avoid the bad EMIs and ensure that EMI should not be more than 40% of your take-home salary. If you can maintain that parity, trust me, you will be able to manage your EMI and parallelly you will be able to do wealth creation. So both things you will be able to parallelly manage, and eventually you will be able to achieve your financial goals.
I am closing today's episode at this point in our conversation and keeping the rest for next time. I hope you enjoyed our conversation so far and are able to connect with all the good points that Saurabh is making. Do let me know any tips that you are following in the comments box below. What stood out for me is, firstly and most importantly, have a financial plan. understand the difference between a good EMI and a bad EMI, and take systematic and step-by-step approach to attain financial freedom. And yeah, keep your loved ones informed about your plan. In my next episode, we will hear some interesting connect between Bollywood and financial well-being that Saurabh has come up with to further demystify this topic of financial well-being. So don't forget to tune in to part 2 of this series next Sunday. Until then, look up at Sunny Side Up.